Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to week 6 of this OPL split. My name is Jackal, and I'm joined by Lynx for this one as we have our first game. It's going to be Incite versus Llamas in Pyjamas. And given it this week 6, only halfway through the split, this is the first time these two teams have met, which is quite a surprising but exciting nonetheless.
Yes, Incite, each week they've just been getting better and better. Llamas, they've actually proven to be quite a good team. They were a Challenger Cup team, no one kind of dismissed them. But they've actually been able to scrape through 3 wins so far, so they've been doing pretty decently.
Yeah, but they're going to have to come up against the juggernaut of Incite, who've only dropped 2 games this entire split. And those were to Deadweight, who are currently sitting 8-0. So it's going to be a very difficult and uphill struggle for them. So we're going to go ahead and just go ahead into picks and bans shortly. What do you expect to see this week, given that Ratatasker is now allowed?
If Ratatasker is allowed, I'm going to definitely expect him to be, and possibly even Susano as well, both these two junglers. However, we see the Kabrakan ban comes out, and that is directed. Actually, that's strange. Inside of ban, usually the Beast we see a lot of Kabrakan, but Llamas, they have played on Shurix in the past, but he hasn't been known as the best Kabrakan in the game.
Well, maybe Inside is just hoping that there's something even more powerful to pick up for first pick, and they're not comfortable facing the Kabrakan right now. Kepri going to be taken on the table by Llamas. So again, there's a potential right now. There's definitely a guarantee that one of Alquang, Susano, or Ratatasker is going to be let through, maybe even both. And even Raijin is still in that conversation as well. So a lot of high-value gods going to be let through.
Yes, especially like once we start ending this meta due to the fact that next patch is going to change everything. Everyone kind of has the meta figured out. Hu Yi actually going to be the next ban. That is targeted directly at Yada. Yada just absolutely loves that Hu Yi. Played him 4 times so far this split.
Yeah, so again, like I said, there's going to be Ratatasker left open, which, in my eyes, is one of the worst mistakes ever to be made here on OCE. It's going to be first picked by Incite. No hesitation there. Llamas, they're going to start feeling the wrath of the little rat.
Yes, Kikiyomiya has really fallen into place into his new jungle role after transitioning from the ADC role, and now that he's got such a strong jungler, I expect to see a lot of ganking, a lot of pressure coming out from the jungle by him.
Athena and Raijin going to be picked up by Llamas in Pyjamas. Good initiation and control over the middle of the map, as well as some good rotational power coming out from that duo lane. I expect Llamas in Pyjamas to look to this Athena to control the early game of this match, with Raijin being able to dish out lots of damage to follow up. On her, Bacchus is going to be the follow-up pickers from Inside, and Bacchus is currently being touted as one of the best, if not the best support right now.
Well, Biggie actually absolutely loves Bacchus. He's currently the most picked god on Biggie. He just plays him so well. He's just extremely aggressive, and since he's gone with the Anha, they can be even more aggressive in the early game. Try and deal with this Athena and whoever else is picked for the duo lane.
Well, Flop does confirm the Pillar Impale coming out from Anha. Again, the shifting stance will allow Anha to do extra damage to targets in it, so it's going to be a lot of poke coming out from Inside, maybe even a lot of early kill potential. Wheelix picked up from Llamas and Pyjamas for their jungle, with then a follow-up ban of Cupid. The Cupid ban makes a bit of sense, but the thing I'm flummoxed about is the fact that Anha is already been picked up, almost guaranteed for that ADC role.
However, you do have to remember last week Yada in the mid lane did play the Anha, so maybe they're thinking it could be a repeat. Yada has a very diverse god range, so you don't want to leave Laney an option where he can just carry. Currently, he's just the best ADC from what I've been seeing, and he's just an extremely strong player.
Well, the fact that 2 ADCs have been banned out by Incite really just sticks to me that this Anha is going to go to the ADC role. Guan Yu going to be banned out by Llamas and Pyjamas, and I'm surprised that we saw Guan Yu get this far down. A very high priority pick in that solo lane. Could be flexed in a support role, but both of them going for Guardians instead. So it would definitely have been the solo lane Guan Yu. Could even potentially see him in the jungle, but again, both of them picked up their junglers in Wheelix and Ratatasker. Rama going to be the ADC for Llamas in Pyjamas, certainly probably the best ADC they can pick up given the current bans.
It's also a very comfortable pick for Rana Barana. He kind of likes Rama. We've seen him play some other guys, but Rama is definitely a one that picked as well. Sol and Raven will be your final picks for Inside going into the final pick for Llamas.
So similar to how Anha would play the middle lane role, Sol will also do something like that. It's a very auto-attack based god. Gonna have a lot of damage coming out from one of the abilities, which is also the wave clear. Bellona gonna be the final pick for Llamas and Pyjamas to go up against this Ravana. And what surely is gonna be a battle of the auto-attack slash ability based warriors, and Ravana doesn't really lose lane that much except to a level 2 Bellona, who then gets ahead. So look for Look for a Willix or Bellona to try and clear the campus as quickly as possible to then go ahead and snowball the Bellona lane.
However, as you can see, Shurix has actually gone for a Mark of the Vanguard style on Bellona, which means he just won't have that kind of aggression as than you normally would see from a Bellona.
Yeah, this smacks me that Shrio is not really comfortable with the matchup against the Beast, or is incredibly scared out of the damage coming out from the Beast and Kikyo Mio, and maybe even a rotation from Yada early game. So it's gonna allow to play safer, maybe allow to play a bit more aggressively, taking less damage from all sources. And with that plus 5 HP 5 means gonna regen a bit more, but Death Toll just would have been so much better for sustain, would also giving you 90 health, 15 physical power, to effectively box this Raven.
Yeah, well the thing is, Death Toll is super good in Bellona simply because she has that AoE auto attack once she uses the Bludgeon. Because that way, the minute you hit 3 minions, you suddenly get 30 HP back within 1 auto attack. And compare that to a Mark of the Vanguard, slowly regenerating health over time against a Raven. I would rather have the Death Toll than a Mark of the Vanguard.
Let it be known that 3 times 6 equals 30. That's with links, everyone. Kikyo, Miu, and the Beast are going to go ahead and clear up their speed buff. Going to go ahead and clear out the blue buff now. And, well, we haven't seen Ratatasker at all. This is his first time he's been allowed a competitive play, so let's take a quick look at him and quickly go through the fact that he's got a very weird item for his first one. It's comfortable, fun, common for Ratatasker, considering that's his passive.
Yeah, so essentially, instead of being able to pick up a boots as like a starting item, instead he basically has an item called the Acorn of Yours and Girls or something. I can't pronounce my Norse very well.
Yggdrasil.
Yggdrasil, thank you, Alpha Jackal. But essentially, what happens is once this is fully upgraded, it essentially has the same movement speed as boots, gives a decent amount of physical power, as well as allows you to heal off abilities, which is a very nice passive.
Till Slicey decided not to go into that solo lane like Kikyo Mio did. Instead, he's going to go to ahead, rotate to those right side mid harpies, make sure he claims them with Swifty, and they're going to get the left ones as well. And they actually have time to go ahead and do the back harpies as well. Very efficient farming coming out from Llamas and Pyjamas, which could give Swifty the advantage he needs to get to level 5 faster than Yada.
I don't think we've actually been able to talk about this, but Slicey coming back to competitive OPL Smite is a really interesting thing. Last split, he was actually playing mid on Tainted Minds, but has now transitioned over to this jungle role, and I'm really interested to see how he plays today.
Oh, he's got a very ability-based league game assassin right now in terms of Wheelix, so maybe a bit of a transitional phase still going through. I certainly would have seen a Wheelix first pick as your top jungler. Would have liked to see maybe a Thor instead if he's really comfortable. So again, just a waiting process going through. Tori Skies, of course, played support role last week, but looks like it's going to be a more permanent role for him now. And despite the fact he picked Nasha in the first game, he did do incredibly well in the second one as well.
They did just have a very rough time. When you go up against Pandemonium, you expect a lot of aggression, and Pandemonium brought their A game last week, and Llamas just simply didn't have an answer. Surprisingly last week. However, over in the duo lane, though, we see that Kiki Mei is about to go in with his ultimate. Yeah, and he's going to go ahead and just decimate Rana Piranha's HP pool. The Dash is going to claim first blood, and just Ratatasker by himself, 1v2, claims first blood. And as you saw there, Ratatasker just has an incredible amount of rotational power. Kind of similar to an Anvil of Dawn, but essentially have 3 different jumping points to basically get from, you could easily go from mid lane to duo lane. However, Llamas are going to go with that death quietly. Slicey as well as Swifty are looking to rotate over. Yeah, Toast Guy's putting himself in a bad position on with the disbursement. He's going to get plucked out of it by the Gravity Surge and just laid in quite a lot of trouble. Activate the Taiko Drums, liking for the hits on the beam, but not going to find it. Slicey claims Just Laney's life, and it's going to be a 1-for-1 eventually. Advantage to Incite considering they got the first blood. This is one of the games where actually Willix is a really nice pickup against a lot of the leap-oriented draft of Incite. You got Barkness who's trying to leap, and you got Arna trying to leap away. And if you can basically Gravity Surge either one of them, that's a massive pull you can get. Ikimiya going aggressive in the mid lane again. Didn't find the solid slicing that he was looking for. Actually forces the defender of Olympus onto Swifty. So that's another ultimate down, just with the presence of a very tiny furball. Well, the thing is, he already has his tier 3 of his Acorn just simply because he can actually buy his Acorn outside of the shop during the map, kind of similar to a Dota game. So he already has an item complete without even needing to back, and he can actually, as you can see, he's going to invade the red buff. Yeah, and it's going to be joined by Biggie and Yada. It's going to be hit by Yada. I'm surprised they actually didn't give it to Biggie, given they still had the potential to secure their own red buff. A backers with damage buff is very scary in the early game. And given that they invaded the red buff on left, looks like the speed buff on right is going to be invaded by Llamas and Pyjamas in response. Good call. However, Incite may be able to spot this out in time. However, Llamas and Pyjamas using the fact that Slicey can clear it very clearly with the feather step, they can get out. However, Incite looking to rotate over.
Yeah, Kiki and Mio just landing down, gonna kill Slicey there. Now can see Intoxicate, they're looking for Shrio over the top with the Mystic Rush. It's gonna be a double kill for Kiki and Mio. Swifty trying his best to get out of dodge. Yada's just slapping with a couple of basic attacks here and there, and they took their speed. They're gonna try and go ahead here, Incite, and take it back.
In Llamas and Pyjamas, they really need to respect the power that is Ratatosk. I feel like this game, they're just not used to how strong he is, or they just haven't got enough experience with him. He has just been able to rotate constantly, do so much damage, and it's only 4 minutes in and he already has 3 kills.
Well, it's one of those things where Ratatosk is so powerful, and he's not been picked up in scrims because he's been banned every single time, that maybe they're thinking, right, no one's had practice on Ratatasker. Let's just let him have it. He won't know how to play it. But Kikiri is showing very good proficiency with the squad already. It's only 5 minutes in.
Yes, but now Llamas, they can kind of try and stem the bleeding. They can kind of pull it back the accelerator inside, try and slow the game down a bit, regroup and farm, and then look for some kills. This game is most certainly not over yet. The graphs are currently only 800 gold and 800 XP. That's a nothing difference. Even 1 gold fury can easily change the balance. So Incite aren't in for smooth sailing just yet.
Well, it's not a massive snowball, but it's certainly going to be threatening to lead into a soft one at the very least. Taurus guys right into the mid lane, looking for a taunt. Going to go with the tower, not going to find it. Give me a 2 fast with the speed buff and the 20% movement speed on that Acorn.
And now we can just have a look. They're just going to be going back to the bank cabs, as they can't really do much if they can't pick someone up with either the grab with the rising, not the rising gyro, the moonlight charge, or the taunt. They simply just have to back up for a little bit. Llamas have drafted a very pick-oriented comp, and then they have the taiko drums if they have to engage in a team fight. So if they can't get those picks early on, they're just going to simply have to be just more patient and wait their time.
Oh, the blink from Slicey going aggressive onto Yada, going to find it with the gravity surge. It's not enough to separate it in time, but eventually he's going to die. Taiko drums going to be activated. 1 hit is all it's going to take to kill Yada underneath his own tower. Gibby has to scarce for his life, and he's going to get out. But it's a 1 kill for nothing right there for Llamas and Pyjamas. It's exactly what they needed.
Yes, you saw that Slicey really used that blink to his advantage, just blinking at the perfect distance, able to forcing Yada to actually turn his back, then landing the moonlight charge, knocking him up, pulling him with the gravity surge, and even trying to get away in that incorporeal form. He was just too low, and Swifty was just super easily able to pick up that kill and slowly bring back this game in favor of Llamas.
We haven't talked about the ADC matchup just yet, but it's going to be the Onher versus the Rama, the early game Onher. Certainly wants to fight a lot versus the late game Rama, who wants to farm for a bit. Once he's got 3 or 4 items and a bit of boxing potential on him, that's when he will look to engage on this Onher himself. But it could be a very cheeky Gold Fury bait actually going on right now. Huge damage on Tirana Barada. He's just disappeared. Just Lady gonna be the one getting that kill with the Desert Fury.
You were talking about this during the picks and bans, the fact that the combo, however, Llamas and Pyjamas getting dived again by Kikyo Mio, and Taurus guys are gonna fall to Yada thanks to the Stellar Burst.
Yeah, now the red buff going to be invaded once more. They had the timers on this Incite, and they just played it like clockwork. It was actually a good bait onto the Gold Fury as well. They didn't even have to start it, and already Llamas and Pyjamas were surrounding it, making sure they weren't doing it. Just one of them got picked. Leads to another pick, and it could lead to the Gold Fury actually being done for real right now.
However, they do need to be careful. Swifty is in the area. If he can just get in there. However, Incite, they just take it down with the Supernova, nice and safe. Defender of Olympus is used by Llamas, but that's just a little bit too late. Incite just get themselves a nice free Gold Fury. The graphs are now climbing slowly and steadily for Incite. 3,200 XP, 2,000 gold. Incite, though, trying to steal the speed buff.
And it's actually going to be stolen by the Beast by himself against Slicey. Shrio's on the rotation as well. Not going to be going for the blue, but it's going to be giving that one up. Well, he's already got his win. He can go back and get his own blue buff.
Yes, but like every time they take fire, we're Incite are slowly building up this lead. And this team, as you said, if they can snowball, especially with that Ratatosker, they will be absolutely set for this mid to late game that they've already started to enter. And now they just need to make sure that no matter what, they don't give away any silly advantages, drop objectives, especially Fire Giant or a Gold Fury. Just make sure they keep their lead nice and steady. And most importantly, do not let a Wheelix catch you out. Because if a Wheelix starts falling behind, she basically becomes an old bot and is basically extremely useless.
Oh, Slicey. Bit of, I don't want to say a bit of nerves there, but it could have been because he just blinks in, uses the Moonlight Charge, Yada turns around perfectly, and still the Gravity Surge was popped there by a Wheelix. So that's going to be on cooldown for the next 90 seconds. The blink still on cooldown for the next 103. A huge win there for Incite out of absolutely nothing.
Yes, and now Yana, he can basically be like, I'm safe in my lane, I don't have to worry too much, I can just sit there, farm up, and know if they try and engage on me, I won't get cooled, I can just use that to separate, and just walk away. Even if they try and use CC on me, I'll be absolutely fine, and I know I have my team's back to basically support me.
So Rana Barana actually sporting the start of the new build coming out on Reddit from Deek Sloth, called the Sloth affectionately after him, and involves a lot of movement speed, a very high triple crit DPS based build.
Yes, and we'll be soon seeing him possibly, I believe he goes Masamune into Ichabod next. So once he gets that Masamune, he's basically going to try and box out the early game on her. And he actually may be able to do it just simply because he'll be doing a lot of auto attack speed damage. He'll just be constantly unleashing those arrows with the slow, as well as the fact he can use the pick-me-up to go even faster.
Well, it's going to be a Masamune into Executioner and then into your triple crit of Wind Demon Deathbringer, selling your Golem Bow to then get Malice as your final item. And that's really all there is to it. A lot of DPS, you can get so much damage off of one basic attack, and if it crits, that's going to be even better for you. Taurus Sky, Swifty, and Slicey currently grouped over the mid lane. Kikyo Mio hovering around the jungle on the left-hand side, looking like he wants to dive on the right-hand side, actually. Dive underneath the tower. The Beast going to pick up Shrio. Taurus Guy's going to pick up the Beast in return. A 1-for-1 trade in that solo lane, but that just leaves open the left-hand side. Free to engage here. Just later going to kill Slicey, as Lobster Joe is left wide open with the support from Athena gone away.
And now Kikyo Mio is just diving deep, using his ultimate onto Rana. Rana forced to use the ultimate as the Tosuke barely misses. The snipes coming out, but that will be enough as just Lady just dives on top of him, using that impale, and that will be good night for Slicey. Not for Slicey, sorry, for Rana.
Well, it might be good enough for Slicey, we don't know, as the boss has come out from him. And, well, that was just clinical play coming up from his side. The Beast knew exactly what he was doing when he was aggressing underneath the tower of Shrio there. He was making sure that he either got the kill of Shrio and got out, or he forced rotation from Taurus Guys and sacrificed himself for the kill on Bologna. And when the Athena rotates over there with Defender of Olympus, that just gives free reign for an engage by Incite on an advantageous 4 versus 3 situation on the left-hand side, which they use their complete advantage. Swifty keeps his distance from the fight, still alive, and can look to try and defend the rest of his jungle as he goes into the Psychotrons for the taunt, but no damage really coming out. Only one of the beats hitting onto Yada.
We've seen Swifty have a bit of an issue with, like, he does pick a lot of gods, but he's mostly picked Giannis. Like, out of his 10 games, currently he's picked 5 times has been Giannis. So if we currently look at the fact that he hasn't been able, I don't think he's actually won on any other god other than Giannis. So currently on the Raijin, he just hasn't been able to show the true power of Raijin because he's been shut down so much this game.
Speed buff going to be taken away. Kikyo Mio be riding that orange belt to victory. Yada going to be saved by triple knockup just about for now. And the meditation from the Beast is good enough to save Yada's life. And he's going to go aggressive onto Slicer right now, a bit low. Eagle's Rally going to be off the mark. Not going to find the start. One more basic attack should do it. The Biggie going to claim it though with the belch of the gods, and the Beast has to try and get out. He's going to get taunted back in. The Bludgeon going to be doing enough damage. Taurus Guy says to get out though. He's got turned around by the Beast. And Just Lady with a pillar, just going to back them off for now. They're not really wanting to be impaled into that.
Yeah, so now we can see 9-3 currently reads the scorecard at 11 minutes in. Incite getting into a very nice, comfortable lead. 3 kills currently on laning, which is a massive advantage for your Hunter, which you want to get. And then also 3 kills onto Kikyo Mio. He's just been absolutely on fire this game.
It might not sound that much or that big of a deal, but the decision from Kikyo Mio to gank dual lane early and to get the first blood there, Swifty taking a huge chunk of damage in mid lane, was absolutely pivotal to right now for what Incite are doing, because they have a very high pressure support, a very high pressure ADC, who can then start to look to control the left-hand side jungle by themselves, pretty much, and just allow Kikyo Mio and Yada to do exactly what they want to do in mid lane. As he gets aggressed on in mid lane, the Feather Step's going to be immune by the Desaparate.
Yeah, the Desaparate just coming out in the nick of time. If he wasn't, he may actually have been dead, because Slicey did have the Gravity Surge ready to go. We actually haven't been able to talk much about the solo lane because there hasn't been too much going on there, but the Beast currently, top player damage is not too surprising. Raven, definitely one of the highest dot damage dealers over time, and he just has a nice amount of damage in his kit altogether. However, Gold Fury will now be started by Incite with a possible, I don't think Llamas actually looking to even try and stop it.
No, they were trying to bait the Taurus Guys. They knew he was around the corner. Swifty and Slicer were also mid lane, so they weren't really trying to do it. They're trying to bait a fight. So no, they can take. They know they can take with rotation. That means they know they can take with Kikyo Mio. Already half health is Slicey, so he has to try and get out. Taurus Guys and Swifty just protecting their jungler from these Uber's about to damage coming out from this Ratatasker, but it's not enough, and the Gold Fury is going to get started up once more. The ward is taken down, so they know it's started up into Llamas and Pyjamas.
Yes, but Biggie and the Beast are kind of out there zoning, and now Kikimiri is going up into his ultimate to see if he can find a pick. And
they're going to fight Tori's guys. Lean as you like, knock up into Impale. The CC chain was glorious there, and Ranabaran has to be careful. Going to roll away from the stun. Oh, Kikimiri accidentally pops his Sanctuary.
And now, Incite take away the red buff once again. They're just constantly taking away these buffs. And they can now just relook at the Gold Fury. Now they know Tori's guys isn't there. They don't have the CC as per usual. Even though Tycho Jumps is ready, I don't think Swifty can even get range with Beast and Biggie just doing such a good job with zoning.
The Incite do destroy the Gold Fury. There's a bit of a threat of a steal from Rana Barana with the Astral Barrage snipes. Just not able to find it. Just good enough DPS coming out from Incite to make sure that in between shots they can secure that Gold Fury. I'm having a look at the support builds right now, and given the differences right now, which one would you say you prefer?
I prefer the Bees Barkis build, but I'll explain why I don't like. Usually, I can understand the building of the Heart of the Urchin on Tori Skies, but you only want to build Heart of the Urchin when you know you're going to get kills and when you have the advantage. If you're behind, essentially a Heart of the Urchin is useless because you just won't be building the stacks. Currently, only 3 kills have occurred for Llamas, and they don't look like they'll be actually getting any more kills anytime soon. So if you want to get those 10 stacks, it's going to take a lot longer, and essentially you basically build item that costs a lot more than Sovereignty. You're not providing protections to your team on HP 5, and you're just not going to get much value out of it.
Yeah, and well, I do like the fact that he's got Traveler shoes over something like shoes on the mat, shoes of focus, which seems to have fallen out of favor completely in supports recently. A lot of them going in for the value tank boots, or going in for penetration boots, shoes of the Magi instead. Shoes of focus not really picked up at all.
It may have been even worthwhile for Tori to possibly even start off with the Wingblade style, where you just go tier 1 boots, combine that into a Wingblade, because there are a lot of slows on Incite, and it seems like Tori just can't keep up with the slows. Currently died 2 times, so however in the mid lane though, Incite do get the tier 1.
Yeah, Swifty going to be taken down to 6% of his HP for his trouble for looking at the beast just in the wrong way. And that's what Ravana will do to you. You get anywhere near him, he's going to root you, he's going to slow you with his Prana Onslaught, and then he's going to basically attack you a few times as you just stand there helpless. And Shiryu, rotating in to defend this tier 1 on right-hand side, is looking against 4 members. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, it's going to be a 2 versus 1. It's just Laney currently getting taken down by Slicey and Bananarama. There's going to be a good knock-up there from Moonlight Charge, but no gravity surge or even Featherstep following up. And with the 2 people of Llamas and Llamas being left, that means there's only 3 available to defend on right.
And you can't leave Incite open, as they're now just going to go heavily in with the aggressive. They're through the cold block from Kikyo Mio. Slicey, however, able to pick up a kill on Just Laney.
Just Laney going to pick up Slicey in the meantime as well. So 1-for-1 traders. I think Slicey would have been diving at the tower there. They get the tier 1 on right hand side as well. We're trading out with the tier 1 on left as Rana Barana is making no attempt to rotate to try and defend this tier 2. May even not be able to get that tier 1 as Tori's guys just dies immediately. Trying to defend this tier 2, he should not really been doing that. 1 versus 4, just get out. Your life's not worth it. And you needed to stay, because they could have even gone on for the Phoenix there with that pick.
I don't know why Llamas tried to defend, especially with the Soul and her unstable manifestation. Split pushing is just way too easy for Incite, and they could have just straight away look at the tower, quickly burst it down, or as you said, just as you saw there, burst down Llamas and then go straight for the tower with an absolute ease. And now 12-4 at 17 minutes. This is not good for Llamas if they want to bring this back. Having a look at the graphs now, 7,000 XP, 6,000 gold. Llamas gonna have to do a lot more to climb back up and actually win this game.
So if you're on Llamas and Pyjamas squad right now, what are you saying? What are you thinking about doing to try and get yourself back into this game?
They need to play to their comp strength. They haven't been able to... We saw in the early game some moments of brilliance with Slicey where he was getting some really good picks for the Gravity Surge. But ever since they've basically been fighting as a group, trying to fight against Incite, they just don't have the better team fight, and they need to accept that for now, especially due to the level disparity. They need to farm a vet, look for picks, just put some clever wards around the place, and try and see if you can, like, as you saw there, they were able to pick up Just Laney because he was a little bit overextended. Just look for those moments where Incite are just a little bit too aggressive, and then snap on them and counter-engage.
Yeah, we haven't really seen too much of the tricol of Tori, Sky, Swifty, and Slicey rotating around the map together in that earlier portion of the game. Really, it's because they were behind, because they were constantly getting picked off, they were constantly being spread out, and they couldn't really deal with the fact that Yada, Biggie, and Kikiri just were a better 3 versus 3 comp than they had. The Beast's going to be, again, terrorizing the neighborhood. I think he did actually manage to steal that blue buff, indeed he has.
Yeah, so now he's just going to use that overhand kick. He's just going to run away. He doesn't have to be too worried. He has so many different slows on his cannon, so many ways to sustain himself. And now Yada has come to back him up as well as Kikyo and Mio. They're going to go into the spot.
And Slicey going to fall down before he can even leap away off Suku. They're going to be slowed down by Kikyo and Mio's dash. He's going to be slowed down by the Piranha Onslaught. Yada going to claim it with Supernova. And this right-hand Phoenix looking very susceptible right now. It's on the left-hand side. A 2 versus 2 is slightly breaking out. Toy Sky's going to counter Slightly starts there. It's just like he uncharacteristically misses a stun target with his Impale.
And now inside, they're just looking to take this Phoenix for absolutely free. Swifty, for some reason, was doing a backhand at the time, hasn't been there for the defense. And however, the defender of Olympus comes out to help out Swifty, but it's way too late. The Phoenix doesn't A-fall, and Kiki goes in on Swifty.
Yeah, and he's going to melt. Even with the Purification, he can't go into his Thunder Crash in time. And he's going to just absolutely get obliterated off the battlefield. Left-hand side, Tier 1 falls down. Just Lady and Biggie by themselves against the lone Rana Barana. So, again, just that dragging the Athena over to a different side of the map so you can then have the advantage on the place where she originally was. It's good play. That's something that you saw a lot of by Pantera at DreamHack. They've rotated the enemy around the map to their whim so they can then get favorable engages elsewhere or just get the target which they were really looking for. And it's clever play by Incite that's allowing them to get these objectives for absolutely free. It's allowing them to get this Gold Fury for free. As up in the air goes Rana Barana looking for the snipes, but it's too much HP on the Gold Fury right now.
And now he's forced to use the Sanctuary as Shurix is rotating and trying to save his life, forcing him to go off the sprint to save Rana, and Incite get an absolutely free Gold Fury. So Incite, they also, as you mentioned, that two-prong attack. They have basically two auto-attack based goals like the Soul and the Anher to do their split pushing. So they can actually easily, they can have the equal amount of split pushing with devastating effects on either tower. So they don't have to sacrifice, let's say, put forward one and try and hope that the ADC can split push by themselves.
Now, a lot of the time on Souls, you would see a Polynomicon as the third item after a Book of Thoth or Adina, as it is right now with Doom Orb. So because it just gives a lot more DPS, but this Obsidian Shard means that they recognize that they have the opportunity to take down towers and snowball this game out of control, meaning they want to get this map objectives as quickly as possible. It's good, intelligent build choices coming out from Incite, which is what's really allowing them to get as much of a lead as quickly as possible.
Biggie blinking, using the Intoxicate there as well as the belt, catching out too with the knock-up as well.
And it's going to be a full-on engagement. It's 5 versus 2. And the Beast and Biggie, they don't really care. They actually get a lot of poke onto Rana Barana and onto Slicey as well. Biggie going to be slightly low HP himself, but he's absolutely fine. He's even didn't have to use a meditation on the Beast, so that's also a thing. They can med bait with Bacchus here. So, and then it's going to be engagement underneath the Tier 2. Looking for the Tortoise. Tortoise is going to fight too. They're open to the Johnson War. They go over the top of the Eagles rally. It comes Shrio, but the Beast immediately engaging onto Rana Barana, going aggressive in the backline, trying to find the kill, but it's going to force so many people back to try and defend it. Biggie going to kill Shrio, and well, the Beast has done his job. He's forced the enemy team back. Swifty going to kill the Beast. Slicey going to fall down to Kikyo Mew. And, well, it's going to be a very quick kill onto Swifty. Biggie with a double kill. Tortoise going to fall down as well. Just Lady going to pick up a double kill as well, as Rana Barana is just sitting by himself wondering what just happened to his team.
Yeah, as you said, that was a perfect bait by the Beast. He simply just dived the backline and slowly started walking back, knowing Kikyo and Mia could just engage, and the rest of his team could jump in as well. And that was all they had to do there. They're now going to take the second Phoenix, look to try and take out Rana. Rana forced to use the ultimate to try and save himself, but this is going to be to no avail. He is going to most certainly fall.
Yeah, with that pick, they can actually end here. Dia's side, 22 minutes on the clock, and the Titan has fallen down incredibly quickly. Fast game from Incite. Played to the strengths that they're called beautifully with one intelligent play, one intelligent gang just setting the entire pace from that game from Kikyomi in the early game.
Yes, so next game, there's like one obvious answer. They need to ban out the Ratatoskr. They just can't. They absolutely cannot let him roam free. Kikyomi just did an absolutely beautiful job, as he said, setting up that early game. And then even in that late game, we saw Just Lanny got 5 kills. Biggie on a support because he's playing Barkas, able to get 4, just everyone contributing to the kill count and just applying a whole lot of burst damage. Llamas need to really think how they can actually counter the burst damage of Incite.
Yeah, I mean, the damage numbers speak for themselves. Kikyomi are just sitting shy of 14,000. The Beast You can only see they got 13,500, just landing on 12,500. There was a lot of damage coming out from the physical damage core of Incite, and Llamas and Pyjamas, they couldn't react to it. Even with the fact that they were building protections against physical damage, it's just too much for them to handle. Yana Biggie, they were there for one thing only. They were there to initiate fights on the side of Biggie, and they were there to kill towers and get some good magical damage follow-up off side of Yada. So, good plan coming up from Incite. Possibly going to repeat it in the next game. Llamas and Pyjamas, they need to let through Khepri, because Khepri's not really picked up in this meta that much, and they need to ban away this Ratatasker.
Yeah, just Bahis just, as you saw, Biggie doesn't really play the Khepri that often. He plays more of those aggressive gods. They need to ban it away.
So we're going to go ahead and cut to a quick break, and we'll be back shortly with the second game.